Thanks for staying with us. So we found a story online about a parent who narrated that she is currently having issues with her son's school. Her son was ill for a while and wasn't attending the school for the term. The school then informed her that she needs to pay for the son's school fees for the term, and even the next term for the boy to still be considered as a student of that school. According to the report also, she said that the school term fees are 700,000 naira per term. Now, what are your thoughts on this? Because many have said that it was unfair, it was unempathetic of the school to insist on payment. Others said it's their policy, you chose that school. But what are your own thoughts? Because many parents can relate to these kinds of situations where the school insists on collecting money for an appearance that the children did not meet, or the kids were not there for whatever reason, different reasons. What are your thoughts? You can call us on 081 0764 1679 09024 163440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweet. Okay, let me come to you guys here. What are your thoughts on this issue? Amaka, you want to start?
Yes, yeah. So I'm going to speak for both sides, okay, as an entrepreneur, and then also, for the parents. But I want to be clear, did the child attend the school term at all? Or is it that the child did not show up for that whole term? Or did the child start the school term?
And then the child started.
Yeah, started, then got ill, right? Yeah. And then, okay, so if the child started the school term, a contract has ensued between the school and the parent, yeah, and the child, okay? And then most times people don't read the fine prints. So for the fact the child has registered, because you remember, this is the business. And for every slot, it counts to the logistics and operational, yeah, cost for the school, yeah, payments of teachers running the school. So that 700K has been, allocated, yeah, towards something. Yeah. So in this instance, but then I also believe that the school should be sympathetic towards the children. It's not just to take money. There should be a symbiotic relationship. And in this instance, I expect the parents and the school to reach a sort of agreement, okay? To say, okay, let's negotiate this. Okay, maybe pay this amount of money or don't pay this. And there should be,
yeah. Right. Yeah, so for me as well, I sort of see both sides. I see both sides because a school is a business. And so, for every child that is in school, every child in school, they have to be accounted for. And, it's from the fees that they use to pay teachers, take care of infrastructure, So if you have taken up a space in the school, yeah, you have to pay. Now insisting that the boy who hasn't been in school for a whole term, hopefully the school and the parents have had like a communication where they're able to, first of all, of course, the school will notice that the child hasn't been in school for a while. Some parents are able to go to the school and say, my child has been ill for a long time and cannot, and give a medical report. Or the school even reaches out, we haven't seen this child in a while, what's happening. So they are aware, so in this case, I believe that they are aware of the situation and that there is an illness. So that child is out of school, not because the family had to travel, because that happens, but this child is not feeling well. And if a parent comes to school to say, you know what, because the child hasn't been in school and it will be too much, it will be a burden for us, especially it will mean that we're putting money towards this child's illness. I feel that a school can come to an understanding, even if it's like a half payment. Even if it's a payment that can be spread across time. And say, okay, this particular payment for the term, for that term that he wasn't here, please can we spread the payment? Because for that slot that he takes, money had to be put, to pay for other things. Yeah. So for me here, it's a communication problem. But if all this communication happens and the school is still insisting that that the parents pay the full amount, then just take your child out. Because for me, it's much more than about money, about the academics. It's also about, especially when you're dealing with children, especially also when you're dealing with a child that is in hospital, it shows a lack of empathy for me here.
Okay, let me come to you, Nima. What are your thoughts on this?
Okay, so I believe that the facts were clear from the get-go. I believe that the child never attended school, but had enlisted. So for me, it was a case of a child who had done first term but couldn't do second term. And also there's third term because we pay per term. So that's clear. And the school had made plans for each term. But now a child did not attend school for being sick. And you want to wear your capitalist cap and think of where's your money? What about the parent? You know, I believe that the school had their facts very clear. And I know that they knew for a fact that the child was sick. So the parents would obviously be running a course. What if the child died? Or what if the child lost the parents? Would the capitalist cap still be fit for the school to ask for their money? You know, I think they were very, very insensitive. So in my kids' school, we have a funding. We call it the Orphans Fund. So if a child loses their parents in school, we ensure they finish school. All that parents must ensure. So there's a post, they will notify on the WhatsApp group and we'll put funds together towards the fees of that child. If the child is in a final class, it's easier. If the child is in the beginner's class, the school then has to structure another kind of scholarship for that child. Then, of course, it's an Islamic school, so we do an Islamic kind of thing. And if a child is sick in school and couldn't attend a full term of school, the school just automatically transfer what was paid to when the child is in attendance.
Wow.
Nice.
So I know, the way I read this story, I just felt, what kind of school is this? Is this one a club or a school?
Yeah.
Where you pay clinical fees,
Membership.
fees. This is a school. Humans attend it.
Yeah.
You know, a parent cannot reach out to you and say, my child, even if the child attended school first week, and then something happened. Because we had an incident in our school where 2 kids had gotten off the bus system and the parents used to drop them. After a while, they got relaxed and they put the kids on a bike. One of the kids almost lost his limbs. He spent months on end at the Navy Town Hospital. Parents, teachers, the school itself, all of us were reaching out, you know, trying to see how, because it could have been anybody's child. You know, and when you wear your capitalist cap all the time in business and saying is my profit, how dare you write such an insensitive letter? Saying to the child, you stand to the parent that your child stands this position of forfeiting his school, admission. You know, and saying pay for the next term ahead. Totally
My
insensitive.
question now is it about the fact that the child was ill, or could it have been done for other reasons? So, for example, I mean, so for your own example, should it be considered because of the circumstances we're discussing? Because I had an experience where my daughter, my husband, well, because my daughter was on a final year, and he felt that she needed some rigor in studying for her exams. So he had paid for the term. Midway, he now moved her into a different structure, a different environment to go and learn mathematics and English.
A crash.
So a crash program. So of course, he had paid for the term. Now, his plan was, you won't do second term in your school. You do it in this same place, and then when it comes to third term, you go and do the final few weeks towards graduation. That was his plan. So he didn't want to pay for second term, but the school called him that, no, you have to pay. So you can't, yes, you removed your daughter, but that slot, you cannot, you have to pay for it. If you want that girl to graduate in May, you must pay second term, even though she's absent. So he wasn't happy about that, but I was insisting that you have to, I mean, it's the right thing to do. It's not their fault that you decided to move. So my question is, it because...
Pay for school not attended.
So you have to, because as long as it's that slot, so it's not, so in our own case, it wasn't because there was an illness involved. It was that the father removed
But you know, I'd ask
but he wasn't
question
there.
if the child died.
And so that's what we're saying is about...
No, let's leave the parents down. No. There's a slot. This is a slot. There are 2 slots.
Okay.
This slot is permanently unavailable to fill. What would the school
I can answer that. I think let me come in here. So I believe that schools also make provisions. I want to believe that every school makes provisions for scholarship programs and schemes for people that can't afford it, or for students that are doing extremely well, in order to encourage that, right? Yeah. So I believe, and also the administrators or administrations of schools are able to take certain decisions. That's why you're in that position, right? So this circumstance, it's unique. Yeah. So you should either fall back on the scholarship scheme for that particular child, or you can write off. Most schools also write off student loans and student debts. You can make exception.
This wasn't the case of I can't afford to. This family can afford it. Just saying, I don't want to pay.
You know, you asked the question if it was because of this unique circumstance.
Yeah.
And you know, when I was talking, I said, if it's not that the child, if it's not a case where a child was taken out for travel or just to go to a different structure then, you know, if it's for illness, or as you said, you know, you made mention of a few examples, or a parent dies, or someone has an accident, things like that. So those are very special and quite unique circumstances that requires empathy.
Yes.
Good. So as you said, you take off your capitalist cap in that regard, you know, and discuss this as human beings. But if it's about, you know, I cannot come because I want to take a term off with my family and my children are traveling, I cannot come because I want to keep this slot on hold so that my child goes to another establishment, learns something, and comes. You pay for the slot, you know, because it's a business.
I
business.
had that experience. So my kids and the school, we had this transportation issue that was becoming a risk. Tank farms were blocking because they are on the Marwa Road. That's where the school is. And a particular time, I fought against my husband and the school to take my kids off the school. There was a new school that was just starting, and I did not even mind that it was a new school. My husband is friend to the proprietor of the old school and just did not want to leave that place because of his relationship. I took my kids off for a term. And then when they brought them back, they simply resumed into their old class because in Islam, you don't pay for services not rendered.
Okay.
So they have their records there. They simply resumed into the old class because that's the setting, Sha. So you are not allowed to take money for what wasn't paid. So there's no keeping a slot. It's either the admission you want to forfeit or you want to redo an exam or re-entry exam for them all over. But there's no keeping a slot. It's against Islamic ethics. So they are an Islamic school is expected.
Okay, so that's a different scenario. But for most schools, it's a year slot. When you come in, you're coming in for the year. So you're not coming for, yes, you may pay termly. After all, some people pay annually. So you're taking a slot for the year. And if you leave that place vacant, it does not mean, especially when you're coming back, it does not mean that another person can come and take that slot. Exactly. Because for some people, they have a limited number of people. Let's say a limited number of people that they can take. Let's say 10. One 9-year-old has traveled with their family or they're doing something. That slot will be held down. To keep that slot down, it's either you pay the full one, or if you can't pay, have a sort of agreement with the school and say, okay, maybe we pay half, or we pay it over a course of period of time. But if it's about illness and accident, something like that, there has to be a different mindset concerning regarding it.
I think we've done a good job in addressing this issue because these scenarios happen. Many of us have experienced it, and we keep experiencing it, where schools are required to be empathetic in a situation. So it's now left to discretion of the school and the parent based on in which circumstance do we consider this empathy.
I think that some schools may not be able to afford this scholarship that you're talking about.
And we
It
can
gives
adopt
a few concessions, but to say that maybe every school will be able to give scholarships and things, it may be hard. But it's important to know that there are schools that do that. So in choosing schools, these are some of the things that you can consider. And when more schools, especially with private schools that charge quite a high amount of money, when they understand that these are some of the things that parents are also looking for, I feel that it will really affect the prices and some of the ways that our private schools
so you can have a structure. Like the school apart from the proprietor's personal charities, personal sadaka, there's really no scholarship for those children. So they put it to the parents of other kids. Do you want to sponsor? Like we have the Tafiz class, is a weekend class for Quranic education. And somebody paid half of the fees for any child interested in doing for a full term. So we were going there. My daughter was at the time when we came in, and I was wondering, why is this so cheap? And they said, no, it was fully funded by one parent. So you have such options. You can always push it out. If a child should lose a parent or both parents, or maybe the empowered parents in their lives, the school will put it on the WhatsApp group. Apart from reaching out, we parents will be given the options of funding. So I can say that's my sadaka for this.
Children's primary school had was an insurance for things like that. So you could opt for it, So from the very beginning, it's an insurance you should have,
Okay, I think we can wrap up on this. So let's go on a short break now. We'll come back and move on to other topics. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.